Well, I moved from Albuquerque, New Mexico when I was in 11th grade. A senior, I moved to Monte Vista, met Johnny in auto shop. He had a dune buggy. I had no clue what a dune buggy was. We're in high school. I'm 17 years old.
Yeah.
I don't know, somewhere close in there.
Yeah, it was 1961.
Yeah.
Off-road racing started in 67. So we were way ahead of the racing game.
Nora race was in 67, right? Yeah. So he's got this dune buggy, a flathead fork in it. Tubing that actually, I don't know, statute of limitations are up, but we stole the tubing from the backstops for the Monte Vista baseball team to build a dune buggy frame out of.
Was it a race car or was it just a dune buggy?
No, it was just a play car.
Yeah.
It was a sand climb, slingshot with a flathead on it. And me and Johnny, and then we went to the desert. I'd never been to the dunes down there. I went to the dunes down here, and it was crazy,
A couple of years went by, and he was building headers, stuff like that. And I says, Lynn, you got to go to the desert with me. Let me show you what's going on. And so then I take Lynn to Glamis, and now he's running. I see buggy frames. Go ahead.
Yeah.
You saw a business then? That's when you realized there could be a business in this buggy stuff?
We're at Ocotillo Wells. I've been tipping a few, and in my buggy that I got from Mike Tacoma.
Yeah.
Remember Mike?
Yeah,
the inventor of the light spoke wheel.
Yeah.
I traded him a flame cutter for it, and I'm in the desert, and I was so impressed by Johnny's driving.
Yeah.
He took me, and he had this Corvair powered buggy, and just sliding through the corners, and I just fuck, man, this is a lot of fun,
This is
So
where
I get my little Volkswagen, I'm sliding through the corners, and then crash. I hadn't developed the talent, obviously, but my leg fell out. I mean, back then there were pan buggies, right? I mean, it was a Volkswagen cut off.
Yeah.
Your feet just set out there on this flat space. There was no rails, just a roll bar. Well, my leg fell out and hit the ground, ran back under the tire. But at that time, we put the seats all the way back on the torsion housing, so you could hit a little whoop and pop a wheelie with it, instead of bounce those, right? So we had the seats as back as far in the buggies as we could at those days. And it got in there underneath my leg, ran over me. I got a scar right here. I can show you this son of a bitch. Right there, see that?
Oh, yeah.
All ground off.
If you didn't have a seatbelt on, it probably would have threw you right over the...
Well,
his leg stopped the buggy. He drugged to a
The
stop.
wheel
We all
ran up
over there.
around my backside, pulled me out of the seat. The crack of the fiberglass seat went up my ass. That was the worst damage I got out of the whole thing. But it came to a stop because luckily I hit the brake at the same time. I'm sliding to a stop. My knees grinding to a, And then Linda comes out in the morning. I'm out there with the toothpick picking the rocks out of my knee, And his wife comes up, oh, you got to go to the doctor, man. You got to, this is, well, shit, they're just rocks, man. So, they took me to the El Centro, I guess it was, right there, and they picked all the gravel out of it and sewed it up, and I said, if I'd have had a rail bar, my leg wouldn't have fell out of there.
Yeah.
And I had been involved, with sprint car racing, and I was familiar with space frames and all of that stuff. So I just said, hey, this is, we need a buggy frame. So I made these kits for like $100.
Yeah.
You can sell a kit, $33 it cost me, I remember, to make them. Labor and material, $33.
For a
100
kit.
feet of material and all the labor, I'll sell them for $100.
Yeah. So you saw the potential of a business to make money off a dune buggy frame, not racing frames, but more than anything.
No, just dune buggy frames.
Dune buggy frame.
There was no racing yet.
The racing hadn't started yet.
Right.
No. No.
None of those races were started yet? None of the races in Borrego or anything?
No,
Nobody
never left
was-
from there.
not till after 67. Johnny Jones started the first Borrego race in 68.
After the Nora deal, right? He got the idea.
Yeah.
Or was it before then? I don't know.
No, it was the
Raffle Matter was like the first race.
Johnny
on-
Jones ran the 67 Nora Mexican 1000.
He did.
Yeah, made it to San Ynez.
Oh, he raced it, not
Yeah,
ran
raced
it. I mean, organized. And when you
No,
said
he
ran
raced it
there.
with
Yeah.
one of the little buggies we ran around in. Well, the day of the race, he decides to put same size tires all the way around, put big tires on the front, so he could only carry one spare. Well, I had stock tie rods. And it kept bending along tie rod, kept bending along tie rod, then it would bend easier and easier and easier. So they quit at San Ynez. And Mexican come out in the morning when they were getting there looking at it, and he said, what's wrong? He says, oh, the tie rod just keeps bending like that. He goes, gringos. He takes their bumper jack, knocks the ends off, the triangle bumper jack, slips the tie rod inside the bumper jack.
The old bumper jack.
Yeah, stiffens a long tie rod.
Puts it right back on there, and they made it all the way home. Never bent the tie rod again. Yeah. So he started the Borrego Rough 100. Then he says, "This is going to go. Off-road racing is going to go."
Yeah. No,
This is
he was
before
a-
the original Baja 1000 put
Yeah.
on by Nora, before this even.
You're right.
Right.
Yeah, this is.
He was
Where it
a
all
real
started.
visionary. You know, he's the thing that always amazed me about him. He put an ad in the paper when Johnny Action Auto Parts, right?
Hey,
They
Linda,
sold all the speed
Put
equipment.
Hokey away, would you?
They sold all the speed equipment parts in San Diego. They were the hot rod shop of San Diego, right?
Yeah.
And he had a drag car, Willys, with a, you know, I mean, he was really involved. No, Chip, where was I going with this? Let me have another drink.
Well, I'm as much interested. Go ahead, finish your story. But I want to hear more about the racing. What got you started, and what got me started is the same thing. I think you probably saw the same thing I did in racing the Nora race, the Baja 1000. The adventure, the thrill, the excitement, the unknown, all those things were intriguing to me.
Yeah,
And your stories, his stories, from the first time he did the Baja 1000, like, I got to figure out a way to do this.
Well,
Yeah, 'cause
Johnny got me,
I was
you know.
on my fourth win, I think, when you started. You know.
When he-
71, the first year I ran it was when Plimpton, and Johnny did that George Plimpton special,
Yeah.
you know, on TV. And so I ran the same year.
John Crimp,
The-
you and
That
John.
was 71.
John Crimp, right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Yeah. I wrecked the buggy 2 days before, broke 3 ribs.
You
We
did.
were up all night, put a junkyard motor in it, and still ran it all the way.
You made it. You guys made it, didn't you?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
got
we
I
were-
remember him telling stories.
Well, I hit
about
the only the only tree in Baja. And we were running like third and then we wound up 19th, I think.
Ooh.
But I hit this, the carburetor was fouling up. And it kept quitting. We getting out and fix the carburetor, squish it, you know, it was a Holly carb on a Volkswagen motor, and squirt it and get it lubed up. And this, who was it? Oh, it was Rodney Hall, or one of the 4-wheel guys kept passing us. Every time we still went fix it, and they'd pass us.
yeah.
And we get back by him. Then we have to eat their dust.
Yeah.
You know, because we were a lot faster. The buggies were a lot faster than the
Yeah.
4-wheelers back
Sure.
in those. I mean,
Sure.
there's no comparison. You
Yeah.
know? And so we get fix the carburetor, get back in the car. Here comes this Jeep. We're hurrying to get our seat belts on. We can't get it on in time, so we jump out anyway in front of him, so we don't have to eat his dust again. But he gets by us, and so right on his ass, he's going into this corner, and he turns left, and I go straight because the dust is so. I run right in the only tree in Baja. What was that? Camaloo?
Camaloo.
No, not Camaloo. Viva la
San
Constitution.
Quintin.
I
right around
still
there.
don't know if I got it right.
Right.
But anyway, me and Crimp got out of our bottle of whiskey out of the back, and I knocked myself out. I didn't have my seatbelt on, so I hit the tree. My face hit the steering wheel, busted my fucking nose. We can edit this, right? You know, when I woke up, I was outside of the car with my head on the front tire, on my knees, kind of trying to come to, you know, what had happened. And when I realized I'm looking at this fiberglass body, was my first body that I had made for my cars. I said, boy, this really looks familiar. You know, this body. But, you know, it probably took me 10 minutes of sitting there for it to come back to me and realize what I was looking at, you know?
You had a concussion, obviously.
Yeah, I did. I did. Well, I remember when I finally got to La Paz, I remember having a beer, and I go to set it on the table. I missed the whole fucking table. I just dropped it on the. Remember that place where La Paz? It's all the outdoor restaurant there, you know, downstairs where all the
Los Arcos, I think.
Los Arcos.
I'm sitting out there on the edge of the curb. I'm kind of rocking on there, and there's a Myers Manx parked right here, and I'm sitting there looking out, trying to get I'm still dingy, you know.
Yeah.
And I got my hands in my pocket like this, and I'm sitting there looking out at the bay, and this guy gets in his Myers Manx, backs up, runs over my toe, and dumps my face right into the back seat.
Really? I never heard that.
Crazy.
What was interesting about Johnny Jones putting on the first Borrego Rough 100 is there was 3 classes: 4-cylinder, 6-cylinder, and 8-cylinder. Whatever you owned, you got in line, and however you got in line was your number.
Yeah.
$15 entry fee. You know, it was like
100% payback.
Cash though, no credit cards.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I won $1,000, which
really?
built the frame to go on to build the race Nora then, because it was just my sand buggy rail, the Volkswagen Pan.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that wasn't even I mean, that was a tunnel buggy.
Yeah,
That's a tunnel buggy that you could race.
It was a tunnel buggy that won the first races.
No, I had about 240 horse Corvair still.
Well, the thing only weighed like 1,500 pounds, and it had 200 horses as a rocket ship.
Yeah, I'll bet. I'll bet.
I already had a Corvair gearbox in it with axles made, so that just went right along. I figured out how not to brake. You know, I could dump clutch 7,000 and hill climb.
Yeah.
You know, and not break it now. You know, where the Volkswagen gearbox is gone.
Did you ever roll the car? I don't remember you ever talking about rolling the car.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, did you?
Yeah, 3 days before the 1,000, I was out testing with cramping.
That's what you was talking about.
And I rolled the car, you know, 3 times, and we had to go. I screwed up the motor, the transmission. We went and bought a motor and a tranny out of a junkyard and put it in the car. And 2 days later, we're in the race with this motor.
Those days were. How about you? I know you rolled a couple of them. Riverside. I remember you rolled something up there.
I don't think Johnny's
only filming. Riverside. I've only rolled filming.
Yeah.
So that's stunt driving.
Yeah.
And it's the only time I ever rolled Riverside and doing an AC spark plug commercial.
How about, were you ever afraid of hurting yourself? Get yourself in a situation where you thought you could get hurt?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Remember those 2 hookers?
So I would slow down. And I've gone into just looked at a dust cloud and said, "There's something wrong."
Yeah.
And just turned out in the desert.
Yeah.
And sure shit, the guy behind me ran right into a 10-car pileup. You know, and I went, "It's the sixth sense." You know.
Oh, I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah. But you know what John always had is, I don't know about Lynn. I don't think he had that. I don't think he had the ability he had as far as, you know, you can feel a car, you can hear a car, you know, you can smell a car, and then realize, if you're as good as him, realize how fast I could drive, or should I stop and fix it, or should I try and make it to a pit, and then analyze the problem real quick, and then make the right decision. He's probably the best that I've ever seen. Don't you agree?
Oh, no, absolutely. I mean, I learned more from listening to John. I wasn't a driver. I listen to you guys, I think, better than anybody.
Yeah, you can learn a lot.
You know, you want to go fast? Solve the driver's problems.
Yeah.
What scares him?
Yeah.
You know, what?
Yeah.
Then if you want to sell cars, you solve that problem, right?
Yeah.
I can break any car.
Oh, yeah.
That takes no talent.
Right.
Well, it does take balls, though.
Yeah.
It's stupidity, so. Dumb shits.
The record my record that I am most proud of is I won the Baja 1000 8 times and never got out of the seatbelt. From the start of the race to the end, never got out of the car.
How many?
Now you got to think about that.
That's
Nobody hasn't done that. It's, oh, yeah, big deal, you know. You want to get in the car for 20 hours? When's the last time you spent 20 hours in a car without taking a pee break? You know?
I lose 10 pounds. You don't have to pee. Once you get past that first couple hours, you're sweating it off. There is no more pee.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah. And it would just.
floated
At
in
the end of the
pee.
race, I'm 10 pounds lighter than I was at the beginning. Just
We talked earlier about doing things that scared me, but I only can think of 2 or 3 times. I remember once in Ojos Negros, in one of the Toyota trucks, chasing a guy in the dust. And I mean, you're doing 80, 90 mile an hour through Ojos Negros there. And somebody had parked a big, like a dump truck, right next to the course, right? Mm-hmm. Where if I'd have been over 2 feet of that guy ahead of me, if I wouldn't have, like you say, kind of felt where to go, I'd have went right underneath it. Just ran right underneath that thing. And that scared me, but it was just, afterwards it kind of scared me. It was too late right at the time. Later I thought about it. A couple of times I came close to going off of cliffs out in the Mint one time, but nothing major. I mean, I've never been hurt. I've practicing and doing filming and stuff. I knocked myself out one time.
right at the edge of.
How'd that happen? What happened?
Testing one of my pro trucks. I was racing Toyota trucks, and I tried to get that pro truck that I was building to sell and going as fast as the Toyota truck. He wouldn't do it. I flipped the thing 4 or 5 times and ended up in the hospital with concussion. A real good one. Yeah, knocked me cuckoo, boy.
Yeah? You still have any consequences from it? I mean,
No. I went to the hospital and I had a concussion, and they, after time with the concussion, eventually you come out of it. I guess you don't, and I did.
yeah, or later you just wind up stupid, son. That's what I was checking on.
Or stupid, yeah. But no, I've been really fortunate that way. I'm getting hurt. Him and I have teamed up and won. We finished second a couple times, I think. In the
Went to the hospital one time.
Did you? You did? How?
Been 400 in Vegas, and it starts snowing.
I was there.
I'm in a single seat Seamaster car.
Yeah.
We're all there, and we get up in there.
And you were in Renko's car, right?
Yeah, I was in your car.
And
your jump car.
There's a line of about 10 cars going real slow, but just in 100 yards is a wash that 10 car wide.
Yeah.
I said, I'll just wait till the wash. Well, I got my goggles off.
I remember
It's snowing like hell. And turned the corner, and Judy Smith is when she gasses it, and here comes a rock. Boink.
Your eyeball.
Hits me right in the eye, and I blinked, hit me in the eyelid. Nice round smooth rock I get. Okay. There's no blood, no problem. Driving along, and all of a sudden, it's like it's filling up with milk. I go, oh shit, I'm blind, and then I know. And I go, well, check one's just right up here. So I pull into the Seamaster pit, and I go, I can't drive the whole race. I said, something's wrong with this eye. He goes, your luck, Bobby Farrell broke right here. So I get out, Bobby Farrell gets in, takes off. We didn't lose 2 minutes.
How did you finish that race? I don't remember. I remember the accident.
And then the paramedic looked at my eye and he goes, you got to go to the hospital. And what for? He says, your eye's bleeding internally. And he says, okay. So I go to the hospital, and the doctor checks it all out, and he says, I would like to take your eye and put it in that little jar right there for a couple of days, and it'll be perfect. There's nothing wrong with your eye. So you are my glass jar. So I've got to tape your eye so you're not moving.
Yeah.
Both eyes. Because if you look this way with one eye, the other eye follows.
Okay, no kidding. So
So I'm sitting there feeling fine. I have no pain at all. And he tapes both eyes up. I'm sitting there going,
for 2 days?
2 days.
How was that?
Oh, yeah. I said, would you just give me some drugs and knock me out? But somebody brought me a handheld, And I'm listening to the race, and it's down to Parnelli, Don Roundtree, and Bobby Farrell in the last lap of the mint, all for the overall win. And Roundtree and Bobby Farrell, both carburetors froze up. The Venturi just got smaller and smaller under the, and nobody had heat risers on them.
They had ice the carburetors. What did they do to fix all the
Piss
problems?
on them, remember?
Yeah, I remember that.
Roundtree got out.
I was feeding.
Roundtree got out and actually pissed on his carburetor, melted it, and Bobby Farrell walked out. They went back next day to start it up and drove it out.
Let me de-ice my carburetor.
You gotta be creative. He would be thinking. Usually, he'd be thinking about that
Well,
ahead of time.
I'd have warmed it up somehow.
Problem solver and off-road. I mean, some of the stories, the ones where he made points out of a piece of wire in his defibrillator, you know.
He did?
Fix it to having cowboys on horseback tow him out of a ravine that he got crashed in.
My very first Baja 1000, 68,000, I never pre-run. Well, I don't, you know. And there was the lagoons. But
I know.
you can get stuck in lagoons. It's an hour longer to go the mountains.
Yep.
Well, they didn't tell me about the silt in the mountains. God, it's made Chapala look like a piece of cake. I'm just plowing through silt, smack the bank, and it just bounces up and stops. And the motor's sitting on the bank, and the front end is just pushed down. And the rear wheels are about this high in the air, just sitting there coasting.
He's stuck in midair, across the
Just
valley.
in the midair between bank to bank. And I'm going, you all right, Paul? Yeah. You know, we shut it off.
Paul Schwab that drove with
Paul
him
Schwab.
at the time.
Oh, okay.
You know, we got bumper jack.
Yeah.
Get up, jack it all the way into the silt. Well, take that back down, take the spare tire off the roof, put the jack on the spare tire, and jack the spare tire into the silt.
It still wouldn't.
Still didn't get it out.
It still didn't get on. And we're sitting there looking at it, and you can't even wiggle it. There's no suspension. It's just sitting on the court. And all of a sudden, Paul goes like that. And I look up, and here is 3 Mexicans on horses, all with a beer in their hand, looking at us. We went, and they went, they're just sitting there looking at us. We're going, nah, we're hallucinating this one, you know. And, and they just went around to the front and lassoed our shock towers.
Oh, no kidding.
And actually lassoed them. We're going, whoa, we got it. And gave it just enough yank. The motor fell off the bank.
Yeah.
Then I could, I got out of there.
Yeah.
When it was like, I haven't
Ever
seen.
got rescued by any cowboys?
Yeah.
I haven't seen a person in 100 miles, a light, a ranch, anything in that area, you know. And to just have 3 cowboys right there was like, Alice still doesn't believe that story. I thought I was daydreaming still.
I did the same thing when you and I ran the 1,000 that time. We went down to Prieta. I had a front tire flat, and there's nobody out there. It's out in the middle of nowhere, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there is nothing out there beyond Puna Prieta.
There's a lizard. I seen one.
This was, 2 o'clock in the morning, whatever it was. I had a front tire flat. No, it came out.
And
flat.
I get him out of San Inez just ahead of Malcolm.
Yeah.
We were tightening an axle,
this is a
lug
funny
nut,
story.
this and that. And so he's leading the race. So there goes I with Malcolm behind him.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
And then I got lost. There was 2 ways you could go, and I got lost. And Bud Fieldcamp actually got by me. Was riding with Malcolm. He got by me, so John thought that I was the first one on the road. We got the Puna Prieta, so he runs out to flag him down, to flag me down.
Yeah.
Right.
And it wasn't
And
you.
Bud, that's the first time that Bud told me later, says, "Hey, we're the first car."
They thought they were chasing Ivan all this time.
I got
And
him.
then when they saw me, they went, oh, somewhere we got by Ivan. Yeah.
I got him the car an hour late I think we were missing second gear or something. Third gear.
The most important gear.
And we ended up finishing about an hour behind him, didn't we? I think is what it was. You ran all night in it.
But he doesn't tell me. I mean, he's driven 25 miles at least with there's no tire on the rim, but just the rim dented all around the caliper, ripped the caliper off.
Okay.
And it just barely, they're banging along. The seat is from his knees to his chest is rock, boulders. We had to have 100 pounds of boulders, rocks in the car. He just,
Just one flat, boy. That happens a lot, though. Just one little old thing will cost you a race.
Yeah.
But McKenzie's there and his crew, shit, they beat this rim off, put a new caliper on, bleed the brakes, they getting everything ready. As I'm getting ready to leave, I said, tell me how long is he ahead? You know, as I go. Oh, and then he goes, oh, but I forgot to tell you, third gear's about to go. I said, why didn't you just say that an hour ago? We could have drained the gear lube out or something, you know. And so I take off, and it doesn't go 25 miles, and bling, clankety clank, 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 clank. And I thought it was kind of a downhill slope, and I stopped and just let it roll, and then kind of lock up and take it back out in neutral.
But he's smart enough. He revs the motor and sidesteps the clutch, didn't you, to clean the gear off?
I'm on my way to Gonzaga Bay, which there's no way back then. There's no, if you go ahead that way, you're going that way.
Yeah, you're not going to turn around and come back.
And I'm only about just 5 miles back from everybody. And I put it in third gear and revved it up about 6,000, just slid my foot off the clutch.
Spin the teeth off that fucker.
While it was rolling.
Yeah.
And it did, and then we had extra big magnets in the drain plug.
Yeah.
And I just shut it off, sit there and waited. Maybe it seemed like minutes. Probably it was only 30 seconds.
Little and pieces drained down.
Yeah.
And it made it all the way to the finish. Which won the championship for Ivan. We had to.
Yeah, I think it did, didn't it?
Yeah. We had to finish. You know.
Okay, so out of all three of you guys, who's the best?
At what part?
Different parts. Builders, racers.
John, for me, I'd say John was probably the best because he really understood, as I said a minute ago, when to do things and when not to do things, and when you did have a problem, how to get out of it. He was the best at that, and he could feel the car really well. I think I was probably a little bit faster and had better equipment from Toyota.
A little faster.
A little bit fast, not much.
Talk about your equipment a little bit.
But see, John, the difference between John's a mechanic. He fixes his own shit. Ivan was really never a mechanic. He was a driver, you know. Get it right for me, don't fuck with me, and I'll get it there, you know. But John, you know, really started out with no money. I mean, we started out, I mean, you had to make a living. He was the first guy to ever make a living at off-road racing. I mean, really,
I think he probably is. I wouldn't argue that.
And just because he had to fix his own shit, you know, he didn't have a sponsor. Ivan was so good, and so, I mean, the camera liked him, everything, you know. He got in a group with
Modern Motors.
Well,
Modern Motors, Toyota, but
yeah, but what's the guy's name? Goddamn.
Bill Rinko?
No.
Paul Spades?
Your guy that built your truck.
Oh, Cal Wells.
Cal
Wells,
Wells,
one of the best.
You know,
one of the best, yeah.
Best sharp guys, you know, that I would. He's as good as I am. I don't say that about many people, but Cal Wells was a top-notch thinker and fabricator and forward-looker guy. I mean, out of all the people I respect him more than any of my competitors.
But what Lynn had, I think, is he was a visionary. I told him that a few years ago. That
was
visionary
to me when you said that.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you look way far ahead. I mean, all the Army stuff that you did, and mini mags, and the cars that you built, and the technology, and how
chromoly cars.
Yeah,
it was obvious to me. It didn't seem visionary. It just seemed obvious.
Tall shot.
Yeah, but you were looking farther ahead.
What do we need? We need longer
I've been involved in sprint car racing. I knew chromoly was better. You know, I knew about space frame chassis. I knew about racing before I got in off road.
Yeah.
I already had a racing background.
Yeah, yeah.
And
yeah.
that's what gave me a big advantage, I think.
Yeah, oh, yeah, there's no doubt.
Yeah.
But going back to Toyota, I think one of the when I landed to be a driver for Kyle Wells for Toyota, a factory team, they had all the resources to build and test and develop and the best in the West, and we'd go out and test at Barstow until we broke something, then they'd build it better, So I mean, it was I had great, fantastic, not only Kyle Wells and the leadership he had to hire the engineers and everything it took.
Yeah, well,
But
the
Toyota,
backing from
and once we had Toyota, then we had major sponsors coming.
How good their testing was. It's a two-wheel drive truck, right?
Right,
So they go out in the sand trying different air pressures
right,
to see if you're stuck, where to lower the air.
yeah,
And found out that I never even thought of. It was almost as important to let the air out of the front tires too.
almost as important
Is the back.
as the back, because the front was always
Instead of
pushing that
pushing
wave.
along, it came up on top,
Yeah,
and it was easier to push. But I never even thought of that then.
but we would test if we were going to do. They want to do a 1,000-mile test. We'd run the car for 1,000 miles and see if something breaks. Then you you fix it before the race. I mean, it's pretty hard to.
My kidney's about to break. But
But yeah, it was a great period of time. I mean, we all lived in a period of off-road racing I wouldn't change for nothing. I mean, you guys were earlier. I come in later than both of you, but
I'm going to go pre-run the 1,000 with Ivan in our Sierra. I mean, it's a 3-seater Toyota, but it's got a V8 in it and a 4-speed.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going back and forth like that. Well, we're sitting around having dinner before we get ready to go, and Calwell's there, and everybody's there, and I says, give you either $5 or $10 for every shortcut you show me, and you give me $5 or $10 for every shortcut I show you. And you go, no, I ain't going to do it. Calwell goes, I'll do it. I'll pay for it.
should we tell the naked story?
Yeah,
naked
go ahead. I'll
guy.
let you do that one. I saw that guy.
During pre-running, you see all kinds of things because it's not the race, and you got more time to fiddle around and explore and all this. So anyway, we were out in Laguna Salada, Johnny and I and another friend of mine.
It's about
Frank Garcia.
120 degrees.
Really hot. So we're running down this wash, and we all at the same time see movement up ahead of us. As we get closer, it's like 3 or 4 guys. I don't
It was
remember.
the one guy running naked
Naked.
to intercept us. The rest of them were sitting at
Yeah.
the cactus.
So the funny part of the story is I know John thought, hey, some naked people, I wonder if there's any girls up there. That's his first train of thought. Mine was, hey,
Our
there must-
Sierra rolls his window up where he can just look out about this fire and goes, yes. So he goes, water, drink.
yeah, they were out of water.
There was a third day without water.
Did you
And
hear that story?
No.
Yeah, there was been out there for 3 days without water, so we ended up giving a bunch of water. John was pissed
Well,
off
I've
because they
never
drank
heard
his beer.
they drank all of our water, all of our beer, every soda pop. There wasn't anything left in any of the coolers. Wasn't even any water in the coolers.
So we ended up hauling them out of the desert. We probably saved their lives,
Jesus
But-
Christ, I never heard about that.
Yeah,
So
that was fun.
we turn and follow this guy up to where there was some shade, and that's 2 more bike riders. One had just become a millionaire. He was so pissed off. And the other guy was a guide
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
that he
Yeah,
paid to take him, and they missed the gas stop at the dry lake there and headed on up towards El Casero. And they stopped and realized we don't got enough gas. So they took the gas from 2 bikes, put it in one bike, filled him up so he could go on. And they go, great. The guy goes on up, runs out of gas. The savior guy, he doesn't make it. So he walks back, and he gets back. It's daylight now. Because he's walked all night, coming back, and they're sitting there waiting to be rescued. And here comes the guy back walking.
Well, the funny part of the story that I thought, he says, yeah, he says, I rode the motorcycle up, ran out of gas, and then I came back, and all night long I walked. He said, every once in a while I get down on my hands and knees and feel the road. And I said, what? Why? He said, well, I knew it was darker than hell, and if I got off the road, which you do the same thing, I probably would. You get off the road, you can go out through the desert and be lost and out of doomsday, you know?
Yeah.
And he says, yeah, he said,
I've done that one time.
forget it, from here to your house.
So the guy that became a millionaire, he made a knee brace for NFL football players. And he says, all I could think about when I was walking back, I'm going to die, my wife's going to get all my money. That's what it is. But when we get there, one guy's got his boot off, and he's beating the shit out of this cactus, trying to get water out of it. And another guy had a hole as big as this table, because the sand looked wetter.
Trying to get some moisture, you know?
Yeah.
Trying to get moisture.
Yeah, I felt sorry for him.
And the one guy actually tried it, we don't know how, he says, my mouth's so dry, I got to rinse it out. Took antifreeze out of the bike,
Sipping it?
washed his mouth out, and then spit it out, and kept spitting it out, just to get his mouth
Dry.
for the dryness out. And you knew if he swallowed it, it'd kill him.
Yeah.
You know, that's like desperate.
I learned how to have a dream come true from my construction days. And when I started racing with Bill Rinko in the 70s, I wanted to see how far I could take it, how far I could take off-road racing, how was, what could I accomplish in this form of motorsports. And if you work hard and get dedicated and keep pushing yourself and overcoming a lot of the obstacles that you have to overcome, you want it bad enough, you can get it. And that's why I like to tell the kids that in this day and age that, you got to have a dream before you can have a dream come true. So to have that.
That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah, you think about it. A lot of people don't have that. A lot of people don't have that desire.
They don't have the
burning
confidence
desire.
to have a dream.
Well, yeah. You gotta have. I always tell people if you want to, you want to succeed in something, you can want to, and you can dream about it, or you can have that burning desire, and that's what I had, is that burning desire that I wanted to be the very best if there was an off-road racing, and through a lot of years and a lot of practice, and tremendous amount of mistakes, I got a
And
chance to
patience
live my
by
dream.
our wives.
And, wives are a big part of it.
A racing commitment really commits your wife and the lifestyle, and your wife and your family has got to go along with it for you to be successful.
Absolutely.
And there's such a big part of the success of a racer is his wife, because we got big egos, we're hard to put up with. I mean, it really takes an exceptional woman to be married to a racer and have a relationship that lasts and works.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you've done that.
Well, 59 years we've been married.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
You agree,
So
John?
you got a patient woman,
A good one.
and we all love her.
Well,
yeah.
when I started out like that, my wife rode around. We went to the desert and rode. She rode with me
how
all
many
the time.
races did you guys win together? I mean, it was
Out of
Wife rode with
50
him, yeah,
races,
sure
out of
did.
50 races, we won 35 of them with her with me. But her first big race, we won the Brigham Rough 100, the first one together. Then I ran the 1,000. We'd never been to Mexico, so we didn't. She didn't want to go down there without knowing where we're going. And so I said, well, let's just go run them in for 169. Just you and me, take the buggy over there and see how we do. We had no pit crew, no spare tires, no shocks,
And you
no
won
front.
it, right?
And we won it overall. We won just me and her just whipped everybody's ass by a good margin, like 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And so it was like,
But those Corvairs leak oil,
yeah, I didn't leak a drop. But it comes down to you got to win, you got to live and breathe it.
Yeah. Exactly.
It just doesn't happen. That car, you got to keep looking at it. What is wrong? What isn't tight? What can I improve? every race you have to improve something, or you won't stay ahead of it. You know,
Exactly. Yeah.
when Craig Stewart was riding with me, we would say, we'd wait especially like the Barstow races were just rougher and shit. We'd wait a half hour into the race and then say, okay, now, does it need more compression, more rebound in the front or the rear? If you tried to do it off the bat, it was too stiff. You had to wait till the car wore out, and then that's where you wanted to make it better. And then, so.
Well, you guys agree too that so you have to have your wife behind you. You have to be committed. You have to be dedicated. It takes a lot of hard work. Well, the other thing for me is having the sponsors and sponsors. I was always proud of the fact that I had 33 years with Toyota and kept them as a sponsor.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's a big
Well,
part of the
one
equation.
Only
Yeah, I
the
probably got.
longest sponsorship in off-road racing, I think, a relationship is you and Toyota.
That's exactly right. And they've been, they were always extremely good to me and still are. I mean, all the years and the people that I've met, they're
deservingly so.
fantastic.
You know, they've hung on to you. That's why they still pay you $50,000 a year.
But at any rate, I mean, that's part of my success. Lynn, why are you so successful for so long? The years that you've been involved, and still I think have the credibility as one of the leaders of the industry. What's the secret?
Stupidity. No, I just making it better, man. Listening to you guys. What do you need? I've always, I mean, like you guys we've been friends since grade 0, and I've been, listening to you guys tell me what you want in your race cars. What do you want?
You told me one time. You told me one time that Carl Adams taught you to do whatever you do it the very best you can. And
Plus one.
Huh?
Plus one.
Plus one.
So whenever you solve a problem, this is what Carl taught me. Whenever you solve a problem, give it one more. Solve it better. So what's the guy gonna do now that I've solved? What's the next guy gonna do to come and beat me? He got me to think that way. Not who am I beating, but who's gonna beat me and how am I gonna beat them? He was just a genius guy.
You attribute a lot of your success to Carl, and do you really? Wow. Did you know Carl Adams?
Yeah. But not real well, but
he was a fabricator. He was one of those guys that
he was mainly a stock car
10
guy.
ripples per inch heat arcing. You could measure it with a micrometer, his weld spacings. He was such a perfectionist at his welding and everything he did. He made me a perfectionist.
You? What's your secret? What do you think?
Pardon?
Your secret to your success. You've been so successful in so many years in this business. What do you attribute it to?
I got an early start to where I was comfortable in the car. And then, I was really disappointed once in my life. I was sick and I couldn't make a sand drag meet. It was missing an event. I can't go compete. I can win it. I can't go to that because I'm sick. And that really just pissed me off. And that's the way I feel about every race. I go in there, like you do, I expect to win.
Yeah.
And Walker, it's the same thought.
Yeah.
He goes, God, if I had to go into a race and next to
I
Walker,
never
I'm going
went
to
in
get
a race.
second.
I doubt it. I didn't think I was going to win.
Yeah.
Have you ever?
Well, no.
No.
Otherwise, I wouldn't.
That's the commonality.
No.
I think between winners.
Yeah. I always thought, Lynn, that somebody's going to win this race.
Might
May
as
as
well be
me.
me. Yeah.
He thinks the same way, man, because somebody's going to win it. I'm just as qualified, or if not more, than anybody else.
Yeah, exactly.
I started out in off-road racing in one of my first 5 or 6 races in a row where it just hooked me. It made the car. So now, I ran the 68,000, I didn't rebuild the motor or the transmission. I just ran it the way it was. It seemed fine. They had exhaust pipe that came up to a turbocharger from being in the sand buggy so long. I had wrapped them with tinfoil to keep the heat in, and it had rotted a hole to it. And now I'm from 10 pounds boost, I'm down to 3. And that's probably what saved me. It took away that snap of the dent, and so I never broke the car. And I went, oh, the turtle wins. Slow, fast, straight. Never had a flat. Never had this, never that, because I lost that bit of power.
And how many first places wins?
In my career, I've wound up with 112 first place wins. The Baja 1000's like the biggest of the races. I've won it 15 times in 8 different classes. 3 seconds. Me and Ivan got a second.
But what you don't talk about too much with John is I was probably as much impressed with the fact that he won championship after championship after championship in different classes with different co-drivers. So he had the ability. John had, this is what I thought one of his stronger points, where he would instill in you, if you're driving with him, don't screw up. Don't let me down. And you feel so, you don't want to let him down. I mean, he's Johnny Johnson, and he's, you got a tremendous amount of respect, but I don't know how many different classes you've won championships and with different drivers, Tom.
8, I think.
That's hard to do. It's hard to drive with somebody else, have them drive too, because usually it's not him, it'd be the co-driver that screws up normally. But he would instill, don't do that.
So where do you see from the start to now how the off-road's going? How do you see the changes, and do you agree with them? Do you like the changes that's happening?
Well, for me personally,
Because Lynn literally started off-road.
Yep.
No.
You were a huge factor.
It's the money and the high dollar trophy trucks has kind of taken over, but we still have the 1-2-1600s, the 10s, all those guys are 11s, Baja, but they're out there, they're racing to win every bit as hard. That's just
We
all
still
the
got
fast that
them
car
on
goes.
top,
Yeah. That's what's
But
fantastic
it's
about
not like the old days. You can't. The average construction worker cannot win the Baja 1000.
it. Overall, you might win in a class, though, John.
Even that, no, I don't
You
think
think
it's
so,
too
really?
expensive.
Really?
I think it's personally, I just think it's too expensive for the, so
There's no doubt it's
if
expensive.
you make
but
$100 grand a year, you can't afford to off-road race.
Yeah, you're probably right. As much
You
as
just-
I hate to
you
see that. you
Yeah,
know.
no, it is.
Well,
And back in the day, if you had a $15 an hour construction job, I mean, that's who our racers were. They were all construction workers.
Yeah, that's right.
They were only guys making, not
Wages.
working, making good money,
So
They could
here's
afford to
an
race.
example how bad it went. In '68, the entry fee was for the Baja 1000 was $250, and they gave you free gasoline at every checkpoint, good gas. So you needed no pit crew because there was no road to get it down there anyway. So and the first place was $10,000. So we go run the Mint. Me and my wife, in March, won $10,000. Turned around, won the 69,000. Won $10,000. So my first 3 races there, I won $30,000.
with $250 entry fees.
Okay, so now
Which is unheard of.
Now let's go into the 90, 91, 92. I won 3 years in a row in a Ford Ranger. Cost $25,000 to $30,000 to run the Baja 1000. Back then, that's cheap now. And first place was $1,700.
Yeah, big difference. That's a change.
If you don't have sponsors, it's like.
Yeah.
Sponsors are a really important part of
And then when the
process.
trophy trucks came out,
Well,
they
if you're not
killed.
wealthy,
They killed.
they're mandatory.
But basically, the
trophy truck killed.
Trophy trucks was Ivan Stewart with the pro trucks because they were before before the trophy trucks?
But he was just
The
running
first
class
trophy
one.
truck was really Roddy Gordon's venerable truck.
Yeah.
But he stepped out of a buggy
talk about that a
and
bit.
showed that the trucks could beat a buggy. That's when my business went to shit.
And say his name, start over. Talk about Robbie. Say his
No,
name.
really. I mean,
Say his
Robbie
name.
got out of buggies driving for his dad. We were dominating.
Yeah.
Nobody could whip Robbie.
Yeah.
He was 10% faster than everybody, just like with Bobby Farrow, or
Yeah.
We've always had Jack Johnson, yourself, celebrities through the racing history that dominated, for a period of time, and that's just the way it's always been,
What killed, I thought, off-road racing was, okay, everybody had their sponsors, and we were all got a little TV, we're all on this and that. ESPN television decided there's too many classes to cover. So we're going to make one new class, no rules, got to have a fiberglass body, looks like Ford, Chevy, Dodge, Toyota,
trophy truck.
trophy.
That's right.
And we're going to call it a trophy truck because they're going to race for a trophy, no purse.
Yeah.
All the money is going to go to the end of the year to the awards banquet. So you could win the San Felipe 250 and not be in the top 10 of a trophy truck. And we're going to race on Saturday, not even Sunday. So there'll be no cameras for anybody else on Sunday when everybody's racing. So I lost every one of my sponsors, all that to the trophy trucks. And I was getting $40,000 from Atlas Hotels. And then I says, I won't be on TV next year. Yep.
Okay, can I ask you a question? All three of you guys live here in San Felipe, right?
Yeah.
Okay, can you just talk about San Felipe?
Yeah, one thing I love about San Felipe, I can get in my buggy and drive down the beach for 30 miles each direction. Nobody cares. Everybody waves at you as you go by. The cops wave at you. There's no restrictions. We can go hundreds and hundreds of miles off-roading out there. Every course that's ever imaginable you can take. We not only that, we got Bill Reams, you got Roger Mears, all within not that far away. To where everybody just comes down here and
a lot of our buddies
loves it.
down here, famous buddies, racing buddies. They came down here racing and fell in love. Just like you. I mean, you bought a place.
Oh, yeah.
Why?
Sure.
I mean, you didn't buy a place in Colorado where other off-road races are going on. You bought a place here. So did Johnny. So did I. So did Roger Mears. So did Carol Reams. Everybody, because Baja's cool. There's not a lot of rules, and we get by with some shit down here.
And plus, for me, is the fact that over the years that I've raced here in off-road racing, I know so many Mexican people and friends and neighbors and guys I've raced with and have come down here because there's the adventure of living down there, a little bit of a danger. As Lynn says, it's kind of wide open. You get away with stuff you can't get away with on the other side of the border. It's fun. There's the desert. You want to go play, you got the whole damn peninsula to play.
But the Mexican people, I love the Mexican people. They're very humble people. And it's just a great country.
Simple,
and
just
the
a simple
people,
lifestyle.
Yeah, they are great people, and they're very humble and very.
That's what that exact reason is what we all love about that. I don't
they're so
I don't
welcome
speak
to the
Spanish.
Mexicans,
I don't have to.
I remember the first 71 when I ran that race with the Plimpton thing down there. I wound up at a ranch, and the Mexican people came out and they hollered. Their kids they never seen a gringo. I was their first gringo. In 1971, I was their first fucking gringo. And I felt that they were so proud. They were so excited about that. It really made me feel good.
Yeah.
It really made me feel good.
Question. I gotta stop. I have one question.
Last one.
Last one. This is literally the last one.
All right, I gotta go.
Can you talk about the Legacy Lodge and what Lynn has done here? and what just a little bit about it. Now, if you like it, you don't like it, whatever it is, just you two.
Well, if they don't like it, fucking.
Yeah, I don't want to hear it.
Just go, hey, it's so great about the legacy. You know what I mean? Let's see what here we are.
Go ahead, John. You want to start or me start?
I don't know. Lynn runs into me 6-7 years ago and says, "Come on down to the lodge, help me build a museum, and we get this thing going and race with him." And I'm just so proud of him for he loves to build things. Whether it was cars or a house, I mean, there's just not a wall here. It's got to be a brick window here. You know, I mean, he just builds it right. Everywhere you just look around, you see it. You know, the wood carvings. How many people? How many
Look at
places
all
have
those
even?
pussies. See all these
No, Lynn, now.
right here. Look at it. 2 foot on center. There's a pussy carved in this wall, done by Pedro, the guy I bought this thing from. He was single. He smoked dope. He grew dope here, and he carved pussies in the beams. What do you think?
I agree.
And it.
That's what it looks like to me.
I mean, the guy was single, and, horny. I can relate. On the left.
Hey, I so appreciate
All right,
it.
George. All right,
Hey,
bud.
this is history forever.
Oh, cool.
Thank you.
Cool. Okay, bud.
Thank you.
Oh, my God.